Middle East AI News, December 30th. Welcome to Middle East AI News. December 30th. I'm pleased to introduce part 2 of Carrington Malin's 2021 Middle East AI Roundup, recapping some of the top trends, initiatives and stories for the year. Last week's newsletter recapped national talent development, digital policymaking and the arrival of autonomous retail. This week's covers autonomous vehicles and smart cities. In the meantime, as always, check out the full text version of Carrington's LinkedIn newsletter for more detail, more stories and useful links. Driverless vehicles in the rear view mirror. After a number of vision and strategy announcements over the past few years and one-off driverless vehicle tests across different emirates, this year the UAE took concrete steps towards the future of urban mobility. In April, Dubai's Crown Prince Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum confirmed that General Motors' autonomous vehicle company Cruise will supply the city's roads and transport authority with 4,000 autonomous taxi shuttles. More recently, a pilot began for the UAE's first semi-commercial autonomous taxi service in November, connecting retail and tourism destinations on Yas Island. In the meantime, new regulations allowing temporary licenses to be issued to test self-driving vehicles on the country's roads pave the way for more extensive AV trials. The RTA's agreement with Cruise, its first robotaxi deal outside of the USA, revealed how the authority's Dubai Taxi Corporation plans to meet its targets of having 5% driverless vehicles in its taxi fleet by 2023. And turning 25% of all trips in the city into self-driving trips by year 2030. So, it's not out of the question that we might see trials of Cruise AV shuttles in Dubai next year. However, there are still many obstacles to running driverless vehicle services in busy cities, which is why virtually all public trials of autonomous vehicles around the world have been conducted with human safety drivers. In the event of an AV's technology not being able to handle a particular circumstance, the human driver can take over. Obviously, the likelihood of a driverless vehicle facing unforeseen circumstances increases dramatically when operating on regular city roads, compared with controlled campus situations. Run by Group 42 company, Vianat, in partnership with the Department of Municipalities and Transport, the first phase of Abu Dhabi's driverless taxi trial started with 5 custom-made, driverless cars branded Taxi, and an accompanying ride-hailing app. The second phase of the trial is expected to include 10 vehicles connecting multiple locations across Abu Dhabi. G42 also plans to make the hardware technology available for purchase so it can be installed on other vehicles. Importantly, all robotaxis being used for the trial have safety drivers. Human safety drivers take most of the risk out of AV trials, and allow service operators and manufacturers to acquire more data, thereby improving vehicle performance. It's the easier route to test proof of concepts, and to drive early usage of services. What is not yet known, is what route Dubai Taxi Corporation and GM's Cruise will take when introducing AV ride-hailing services on Dubai's roads. The latest generation of driverless shuttles from Cruise do not have steering wheels, and so do not accommodate safety drivers. Cruise has been testing driverless vehicles on California roads for the past 5 years, but, until last month, all vehicles had safety drivers. However, this year, Cruise received a permit to introduce AV transport services without a safety driver, and began its first limited services test in San Francisco last month, offering free rides to employees. Dubai's RTA is planning for the long term, and has recently completed a smart infrastructure study, paving the way for a detailed roadmap to support connected and self-driving vehicles on city roads, in a mixed road traffic scenario. Whether the first Cruise vehicles on Dubai roads are with or without safety drivers, remains to be seen, but what is clear is that autonomous vehicle services in the UAE may soon be regarded as commonplace. Massive greenfield smart cities steal the limelight. The Middle East's massive greenfield smart city projects may have stolen the global limelight this year, as the Egyptian government begins moving into the new administrative capital and Saudi Arabia's NEOM announces the line and OXAGON developments. However, this year also saw plenty of progress from countries in the region investing in making existing cities smarter, more sustainable and easier to live in. Unveiled in January by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the line is arguably the most ambitious greenfield smart city to be planned anywhere in the world. The new zero-carbon city, to be built at NEOM in northwestern Saudi Arabia, will have no cars and no streets, and will be powered by completely clean energy. It will also be cognitive, continuously learning about how the city facilities are used and improving the way the city operates. NEOM's industrial city development OXAGON, announced in November, is no less impressive. Planned to be the world's largest automated modular manufacturing facility, The city will also be net zero, fully powered by clean energy. Meanwhile, located 45 kilometers outside of Cairo, and under construction since 2015, Egypt's new administrative capital is finally ready for the government to move into. This month the Egyptian government began a phase-by-phase move into the city, with the cabinet holding its first ever meeting there last week. The first 6 months will be treated as a trial phase to test smart city infrastructure and digital systems. Despite being ready to house the government, there are still many smart city plans in progress for the new capital. A new company is being established to develop smart transportation plans. Orange Business Services, which has a 5-year contract to design, build and operate cloud-based ICT infrastructure, is currently building the city's core data center. Meanwhile, 5G plans are still under wraps and the National Telecom Regulatory Authority of Egypt, NTRA, has yet to open licensing for 5th-generation networks. However, there are 37 smart cities in the government's Egypt Vision 2030 plan, and there are plans to create innovation hubs in 30 cities to help drive smart city projects. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 National Development Plan sets out to have 3 Saudi cities recognized in the top-ranked 100 cities in the world. The capital, Riyadh, already appears as the 3rd smartest capital among G20 states on IMD's Smart City Index. So, in addition to its smart city mega-projects and national initiatives for connectivity, AI adoption, data center capacity, smart government services and skills development, there are numerous smart city projects taking place all over the kingdom. Saudi cities are becoming smarter, managed LED bulb by LED bulb, smart parking space by smart parking space, and solar waste bin by solar waste bin. No smart city review would be complete without mentioning the UAE's cities, whose state-of-the-art infrastructure has been wowing international visitors for years. Being among the first to invest in the physical and digital infrastructure needed to develop next-generation smart cities, much of the progress nationally, and at a city level, this year has been in raising the bar for smart city services. From the introduction of iris scanner ID systems for automated passport control at Dubai International Airport, to the introduction of facial ID for the federal UAE Pass Public Services app, the UAE provides a shining example for what's possible. However, this year also saw Dubai announce its ambitious 2040 Urban Master Plan, which aims to transform the emirate into the world's leading lifestyle, leisure, tourism and investment destination. The plans increase Dubai's focus on sustainability and livability. The wide range of greenfield and brownfield smart city initiatives across the Middle East are sure to provide plenty of opportunities for smart city tech developers. In fact, what better region to test out the latest smart city innovations? And that's part 2 of Carrington's 2021 Middle East AI Roundup. Do scroll through the full Middle East AI news on LinkedIn to read more about these stories and other breaking emerging tech news from around the region. Thanks for listening. And a Happy New Year!